And welcome back, everyone, to its last call. Last call with the alcohol, only on the Blue Wire Hustle Last Call YouTube channel. And joining me here on the line, on location, this man here will be fighting once again. He'll be returning, making his 2022 debut on March 19th against Luke Martin. He'll be at the Gold Star Coast in Broad Beach, Australia. And while he's hoping to make it 5 in a row with 5 knockouts, we're looking to see him in action here. I give you, well, the 19-year-old sensation, one of Tony Tolji's newest signees. I give you it's none other than Vegas Larfield. Vegas, start off here with, so you're fighting on March 19th. You're taking on Luke Martin here. I know the goal is to win. Is there other goals? Like, I mean, does the team want to see you, like, improve your footwork, improve your jab? Like, what are some of the things that you and your team have sat down with? Okay, we want to see you improve this, during this fight.
I think for this fight, we're really looking to stay on the task of boxing, always thinking about my defense. And this fight is all about just getting the experience over the 8 rounds and getting the experience under my belt.
When you talk about experience, how tough is it sometimes when you're trying to get experience in terms of rounds, and yet you've been just scorching through fights that, fighters, very quickly. I mean, I'm looking here. You haven't gone, to round even 3 yet. Each fight's been like very quick, one after the other, first round or second round. How tough is it sometimes, they want you to get rounds in and you keep stopping these guys very quickly?
Yeah, it can be very frustrating, like going out there and trying to get through the rounds, but haven't been able to. And I guess that's due to the opponents and also my skill level. But this next opponent, he's a tough opponent, so should be able to get a few rounds out.
So it's like we're gonna go back to this fight because there's a lot I want to bring up here, but. Think about your last fight. It was June 19th. You, John Min, at the Nissan Arena, Nathan here. Big knockout victory against a guy who had 39 fights. All went right. I guess did anything go wrong? And were you surprised that you got rid of him so quickly? A guy who had, figured, okay, well, he's been in there. He knows how to make it ugly. Or was this part of the plan along? But, you felt, okay, I can get rid of this guy, as soon as I just put the pressure on
him. Yeah, that was kind of always the plan, that I wanted to get rid of him. I never want to go the distance. Some things there was lots of things that we looked at and could have done better. Like in the first round, I didn't need to take certain risks when I did, and I got caught, not with anything big, but it's all learning. But yeah, the plan was to sort of go in there, feel him out for the first round or two, and then get him out of there.
When you say risks, though, I mean, how much of that is also just your style? Like, you are a pressure knockout fighter, so for you to win, you got to take risks. You got to attack. You got to you're throwing power shots. That entails risks. So how do they try to, I guess, minimize, or is that even possible though with your style?
I guess so. I guess sort of just the first round, go out, have a look. There's no need to rush anything. So yeah, always the first round we go out and try to take a look at what's happening, and that's can sort of minimize the risk.
Right now, I mean, it was, as we said, you signed an advisory pact with Tony Tolji and Dragonfire Boxing. How does this come about in the first place? I mean, because everybody's now trying to sign the next talent here, and everybody's trying to find somebody who, is the next diamond in the rough. We see, boxing become more global as we speak. So how did you and Tony hook up? And what was it about him that made you go, okay, you know what? I trust you to, get my career to the next level.
Yeah, right. So my manager, Phil Murphy at Oxmar Properties, was in contact with Tony Tolji when I was going over to America with the Maloneys as a sparring partner, and then got on one of the cards over there. And I guess it sort of all just came about Tony Tolji was helping out Phil, and they were always talking. And I guess that we decided as a team that we should link up, and yeah, that's sort of how it came about.
So what is his role in your career? Because you have a manager, you have a trainer, you have a cut man. Like, what does Tony do to help sort of get the train going with you?
Well, Tony's very smart. He's got a really good boxing brain, and he's got a lot of connections in boxing as well. So I guess, he helps find opponents. He does all that stuff. He gets me on cards. That's sort of Tony's role in this. And yeah.
With him comes, as you said, now you don't have more people sort of in the camp. Because when you first start out, it's like, okay, you have a trainer, you have a cut man, you have a manager. Are you adding more people? I mean, now that you're 4-0, now that you have, this big person, I mean, are you starting to bring other people on, like a nutritionist, a strength and conditioning coach? Because you're 19 years old, so I'm guessing you're not going to be a bantamweight for the rest of your career. Yeah. What is the team doing to help, in terms of finding the right people to help build muscle, get the diet going and get you ready for, when you start going up to 135, 140, even 147 possibly?
Yeah, that's right. So now I do have a strength and conditioning coach that I go and see a few times a week. So he's helping me out with all my strength and conditioning, and also getting a diet done up from the fight dietitian. So all that stuff is all sort of coming together now. So there is a couple more members on the team, but yeah.
Talk about the strength and conditioning. How does that work, and how tough is it? You're trying to put on muscle. You're trying to get, you're trying to get stronger, and yet you're still trying to cut down to bantamweight, which I'm guessing that's not easy. I mean, most people can't make that weight just in regular life. Forget about boxing life. So, how do they work it so that you can keep putting on muscle, and yet you're not, missing weight? Like, how do you guys do that right now in your camp?
So, it is a little bit of a struggle to make that weight. I guess with my strength coach, we more work on not building muscle and more just very specific mechanics to boxing. So it's not too much weight. It's all very specific muscles that we'll be using in sparring and fights. So rather than trying to build muscle, just actually making me stronger in those areas.
You mentioned also a nutritionist. So what are some things now you've had to give up or cut out of your diet? Because when you're 19, 19 years old, most kids go, oh yeah, Coke, fast food, junk food. I'm guessing nutrition was like, nope, we're cutting all that stuff out. Oh, you thought you gave a candy bar? No. Yeah. So what are some of the things that was like, okay, you're now eating that you're like, okay, why am I eating this now?
Yes, well, I haven't got my diet back from the nutritionist yet. So still waiting to get all that done. But yeah, obviously like Cokes, like all takeaway food, like you really have to cut all that stuff out and try and eat all the right things. But I'm really looking forward to getting this diet done from the dietitian, because I've never had one done before. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to having that.
You say that, but it's going to be one thing when all of a sudden goes, yeah, no more fried food. And like, no more barbecue. What the hell are you talking about? Yes, by the way, no more Chinese. How dare you, sir? The next thing you know, you'll be saying, no more chocolate. Oh, we're going to war here, buddy. We're going to war. So I'm glad you got all the stuff done here. Yeah. Once again, we got Vegas Larfield here on the show. We're talking all things, of course, boxing. We're talking, nutritionist here. You've been fighting now on more cards, which have more eyeballs. And, you were fighting on a couple of Maloney cards. Now this card coming up here, it's a big fight because, hey, you're on the undercard. Main event, of course, is Jacob Ng versus Billy Dibb, who is a huge star over in Australia. What is that like when you're fighting on these cards? You know that there will be eyeballs. There will be media. People are going to be, covering this. How much does that, how much do you like that, knowing that there's a chance to do more business? There's a chance for you and your team to start, reaching out and making more money, with other businesses who are there to, market or the network or to even find that next star.
Yeah, it's awesome to be on such a good card and knowing that there will be a lot of eyeballs. And So for me, I'm really going there to steal the show, like in my eyes, and it always has been like this. Like it's my card. Like I'm going there to impress everyone that's watching and steal the show.
It used to be Australian boxing was known by Sam Solomon. Then it became known by Michael Katsidis. Now it's the Maloney brothers. Now it's George Kambosos. Who are your role models growing up? Like, who are the guys that when you were starting in boxing that you followed or that you watched, when you got into boxing, that made you go, oh, I want to be a boxer?
Obviously, the obvious ones are, like the Floyd Mayweathers, the Manny Pacquiao's. I also liked watching old fights of Costa Zoo that my dad would show me when I was really young. All those sort of guys, and now like Canelo, in a way. Yeah.
Does it help motivate you seeing what the Maloney brothers and Kambosos do? Because it's one thing to have those role models you mentioned, the Canelos, Mayweathers, Pacquiao's, but they're from other countries.
Yeah.
When you see guys like Kambosos, when you see guys like the Maloney's, when you see even guys like Justice Hooney who are doing things, winning world titles, winning Olympic medals, winning world, undisputed championships. Does that give you more hope of, hey, look, I could be that next group. I could be, the next, lineage. I have more opportunities because, Australian boxing is being taken more seriously now.
Yeah, it definitely does. Like George Kambosos going and pulling up that crazy upset really shows all of us here in Australia that it is possible and we can do it. And also being in camp with the Maloney brothers, like that was awesome to see the lifestyle that they live. Like they are true professionals and they definitely inspire me as well as George Kambosos.
Last two questions before I let you go. How much have you had to give up to get to this part? And I bring that up because you're only 19 years old, but already, as you said, you're hiring a nutritionist, which means you're going to change your diet. You've hired a strength and conditioning coach, which means you are giving up more of your time. What are some of the other things that you've had to give up that most people take for granted? Like, what are some of the things that you've had to, either miss or, not do anymore because, hey, you're a professional fighter?
Yeah, like there's so much stuff that you have to sacrifice to be a professional boxer, like and any professional sport really. But things like going out with friends and just being able to eat whatever you want and do all those things, like you take those things for granted. But for fighters, we can't just go anywhere and order anything off the menu. Like anywhere we go, we're having to watch what we eat. We miss things because of trainings, like family events we have to miss because we have to make it to training. All these things you have to sacrifice, and yeah, there's a lot to sacrifice, and I guess you have to if you want to make it to the top, and I'm more than willing to sacrifice all these things to get to where I want to be.
Once again, it's going to be March 19th, your 2022 debut on the Gold Star Coast in Broadbeach, Queensland, Australia. You'll be taking on Luke Martin. This will be your first fight in 2022. Jacob In versus Billy Dibb for the WBO Oriental Lightweight title, for the IBF International Lightweight title. How many more times do you expect to fight in 2022? I mean, now that you have Tony Tolji, now that you and your team have a nutritionist, you have all these people behind you, now that everything's going to that next level, how many times are you hoping to fight this upcoming year?
I'm hoping to get at least 4 or 5 fights this year. Last year, I only got in 2. So yeah, I'm hoping to have a little bit more of an active year this year with, say, 4 or 5 fights.
Well, there you have it, folks. Once again, check him out. He'll be fighting. It's going to be March 19th. He'll be on the Gold Star Coast in Broadbeach, Queensland, Australia. I give you one of our rising young stars from Australia. I give you Vegas Larfield. Vegas, before I let you go, where can fans check you out at? Where is the Instagram, the social media, the YouTube channel? Like, where can fans hit you up at?
So I've got Instagram and Facebook. So my Instagram is Vegas_Larfield ASB. And my Facebook is Vegas Larfield Boxer.
Vegas Larfield, ladies and gentlemen, once again, always an honor, pleasure having him on the show. Stay tuned for more interviews coming up soon, once again, only on Last Call. Last Call with the alcohol, only on the Last Call Blue Wire Hustle YouTube channel.